Okay, what's up, YouTube? I'm back here for another review. We are playing Dimir Mill this game, and give you a spoiler alert, wasn't too good. Wasn't too happy with the result, and I'm not too happy with the result because um, he was able to get a god draw on us a few times, to where if he draws this way and we just draw the correct answers, obviously, we're able to basically steamroll him. For me, Mill is really good. It's 80 or 90. It's 80-20, 90-10 matchup. We hardly ever lose. And if we do lose, it's definitely game one. It's one of those. It's very similar to Burn. Is once you figure out the matchup, you can basically play around anything you need to. I do believe I understand the mistake that absolutely cost us, though. So, but that's why we go back and review these games, just kind of see where we're at, see what we can do differently. So, all right. So anyway, so we get this hand. It's slow, unknown opponent. Okay, so we don't know we're playing Mill. Okay, so with this hand, we really don't like the Snapcaster Mage here. That's really the worst part about this hand. The two removals are fine. The counterspell is nice. We're okay with this, so we keep. So, and we're on the play. So we see a Preordain. So he could be playing Control. He could be playing Grixis something. You know, we don't know. So anyway, we put our 2 blue mana up, and we just hold Counterspell and go. So we think about the Snapcaster Mage early. We choose not to because we don't know what he's on. Because if he's playing Control, the Snapcaster Mage is actually really important. If he's playing more of an aggressive deck and he has more creatures, but just like last game, we should have thrown the Snapcaster Mage out turn 2 probably. Start that clock, get him on the ropes a little bit. So, and this is probably my first mistake, even though I believe we end up winning game 1. So it might not turn out to be a mistake, but this is probably a mistake. So we let the crab go, and we let the crab go because one crab, and we know he's on Mill now. One crab doesn't really hurt us too bad, and the fact that I don't want to use counterspell because he has other counterspells or he has other spells in hand that we would rather counter, and we would rather use one of our removal spells to get rid of this creature, basically. So we're trying to be resource happy here. So we'll go ahead and Fairy Fencing it. We'll get it away. He then Surgicals Counterspell, which is a great play by him. So he takes the Counterspell out of our hand. So, and now my Snapcaster is worthless. And that's why I'm kind of saying, like, this could have been played 2 turns ago, and he would have been at 11 life, and we would have been almost killing him. He would have, 5-6 turns left, because we also have a tar pit, so we can finish him off there. So he then plays Jace here. He makes the play mistake, thinking this thing is going to stay around for a while. He knows what's in my hand, because he just Surgicaled. So he knows I have this Edict. So why he +1s this, I don't know. The correct play is for him to -X4, probably, and then still force me to use the card. So, but -X5 is probably good too for him. So we get rid of that. So basically his Jace did nothing. And we're okay with that. So we land go here. So we're still playing Control-wise, and I probably shouldn't be. Should be playing more. So we go ahead and snap. We Edict again. And we play Edict because this gets around a lot of stuff. So we still mill. So we have how many cards left in our library? We have 41 cards left in our library. So he pushes our snap. We fetch. We get Riptide. Okay, we choose to hit Tar Pit. Now at this point he would be at probably 8 or 6. So at this point, if I would have played that first Snapcaster, which I still have it in my hand, and that's why I'm trying to say this is a mistake, just from an efficiency standpoint. So, but at the same time, he's able to get rid of this stuff. So eventually, he would have played. He could have played that Fatal Push earlier. He then let us draw a card here with this. So I made a mistake by I either tapped wrong, or didn't grab. I probably should have grabbed Watery Grave here, knowing he's on mill and the life doesn't matter, so I can play Bitter Blossom here. That's my fault, but also I get the Snapcaster here, and so he then gives us a black source by taking care of the Tar Pit. So, and now we're on that game plan. So, and then we play Blossom, play Murktide. We have enough cards in our graveyard that Murktide is amazing, and it's huge now. So 5/5. But he should be at 3 life. That there's no reason we should not be swinging for lethal. So, and that's my fault. That's completely my fault on this. Even though I believe we end up winning this game. He then throws an Archive Trap at our face. So this is my other problem, is I should have played Sleepy, and I didn't. So I think I misclicked through that. So we should have done that, and then I would have had double untap here, and then I could have untapped again, and then swung for 5 and lethal. So he was able to, bounce my Murktide to stay alive. So we opt, we get Drown. So we play Murktide again. He goes to 2, and then he concedes. So I made 2 big mistakes there, and it still worked out. And Mill is kind of like this. The way you sideboard against Mill is you typically just throw everything in. So sideboard's pretty simple. It's not too bad. Alright. And game 2. And this is where things get a little not cool. So, like I said, this matchup, even though we made 2 big play mistakes there, we still pulled out the game. And that's what I'm saying is they just have to have God draws to really, really get close to us and be able to pull out these games. So they just have to have really, really good draws. Alright, so we didn't like our first hand, so we mold, and we get this hand, and this hand is not good for us. We have 0 interaction on both fronts, okay? The one thing it does have, it has Bitter Blossom as Mastermind in it. So the other hand had Engineer Explosives in it, which high insight here would have probably won us the game, but it was like a 1-lander. So, and we just can't do that. The odds of us doing that and the odds of him getting this hand are so bad that we just go ahead and don't do it. We're on the draw. We get another draw on top of it. So maybe next time I'll just have to keep the EE hand. So we'll go ahead and Cream Tar Pit and pass the turn. So okay, so he Rune Crabs, and this is where it starts getting crazy. Is he then goes to play Shelldock Isle, which we're not worried about now, but this will be relevant later possibly. So, and now he's starting the Rune Crab thing. These are fine as long as we have removal spells to get them out of the way. We're not worried about that at all. We are worried about being able to kill him on time. The Bitter Blossom's nice. Turns on Spellstutter Sprite. So then he has a third crab and a fourth crab. This is just a god draw for our hand. And so none other time. One EE, which I probably would have already blew up and had the 2, is fine. But this is now he's getting 12 cards per land off this. Like, it's too much. Like, if we had 2 removal spells here, we're sitting pretty. Or if I was able to get one of these, you know, if I had an EE out, there's no way he's playing 3. There's just no way. So he then visions, he surgicals whatever he wants because half my deck's in my graveyard. So he goes and takes Snapcaster Mage, which is a fine hit, but it's really not that big a deal. Him hitting Counterspell can be a little bit more, but Snapcaster with so many cards in my graveyard is actually a really good target. So we're going ahead and opt. So we throw the Sleepy away. This might have been... Because I drew a land, what I was searching for is a counterspell of some sort. I didn't need the threat of Sleepy. One, it wouldn't be on for... You know, it wouldn't turn on for a while. So we feel bad about that. So, and that we had 2 Masterminds as well. So I felt like the 2 Masterminds were going to be enough. So we're trying to mitigate his board now as fast as possible. So, and he keeps doing this stuff. So he then because he has all this stuff, he then mills us 16 with a Tasha's. And we're feeling bad. So, you know, all we needed basically was 1 or 2 removal spells, and we're happy. And then we get another Sleeper's Faerie, which we ditched the first time. We didn't want it the first time, so we don't really want it now. And now we're just on... Because he has this Ghost Quarter, we're actually kind of firing this up. Just to kind of get more damage in there. So we're short 4. We're not happy about this. If he gets a land, he wins. If he can shell dock if this is a mill card at all. And so we're just done. So we're not happy about this at all. We didn't really, you know, I don't know if the Sleepy really made a difference or not. But the fact is if we draw 1 counterspell, if we draw 1 Drown in the Luck, if we draw 2 removal spells instead of getting flooded and then getting all the worst creatures at the worst time, we win this game. Hands down, very easily. So, on to game 3. Alright, game 3. So we know we're against a slow opponent. The only thing he has 2 things in his deck that are worth pithing needling is the Shelldock land and the Jace. The Jace is nice. The Shelldock means something later. So I went ahead and chose to do the Shelldock. And that's, you know, personal choice. So I also could have done the Jace as well. So he gets a Rune Crab. So we have removal here. But we get a bad timing of a Sleeper's Faerie. This does happen from time to time, but he's so slow that a turn 2 Sleeper's Faerie is okay. Where, you know, where we had it on turn 5 last time, that's not okay. Especially when he has the engine going. Like, again, he's, you know, double crab. We have one of the, not worst, but more mana-intensive removal spells here. So he then goes and gets more land. So he mills us. He preordains. Sleepy. We draw a good land. Get the Riptide. Just in case he wants to try to kill this, we can just bounce it to our hand. He then gets a fetch land. Like these draws for him are just really, really good right now. So we go ahead and dress down. What I should have done here, this is a mistake by me, is I should have dressed down on upkeep, and I meant to, but I didn't have my stopper on. So I should have done this at upkeep, which would have made his land drop null completely, and then I would have gotten both, because he barely mills me out at the end, and I think that this was where I should have gotten that, taken care of that. I should have done that, or I should have marched the Wretched Sorrow and just killed one of these crabs to mitigate it by 2. But this is 12 cards for a fetch land. So if this would have came down, it would have at least stalled, to where he would have been down a land drop. Like if he doesn't play a land, then he's down 6 cards. And then I do that, and then on next upkeep, I either bounce one of the crabs or I kill a crab. I'll probably kill a crab. So I'm not really helping myself here by misplaying this. This is definitely an upkeep, and this is where... but, hindsight, he still had the drown here, so it didn't matter. And if I would have marched, it still doesn't matter. Yeah, he's going to counter the spell either way. So, but that is a misplay. I also could have cast that at the end of my turn, because the end of turn trigger would have hit, and then he wouldn't have been able to counter it. So we're kind of, if I would have done that, it would have been better. But if he plays a fetch land, he still would have been able to fetch, grab a land, and still get 6 cards off me. But the point is, I would have 6 cards left in my library here, in which I don't now. So we feel bad. So we're killing the ring crab here. So fracture sanity, hard casting fracture sanity, and just getting these awful timed counters. Like, we're not drawing the things we need when we need them, and it's always frustrating when this happens. So the Ouroboros, this would have been a good pithing needle target if maybe I should have just kept this in my hand the whole time, but I think the Shelldock Isle is good too, because this can stop something later coming down. So we go ahead and add threat, because we know we have to get to him. But he then exiles all the creatures and gains the 43 life. Now, this extension to the game basically means that we got, 6? So it's going to be 7 turns of hitting him here. And we just have to hope that we just draw tons of counterspell the whole time. The entire time. Just counterspell after counterspell. And if we do, we'll easily win this. He's really not in a position to win this game, other than the 19 cards. Other than that. So if we draw well, we should win. So Mastermind's fine. It keeps him off getting any more visions. So him drawing cards, preordains, it stops him off all this stuff. So, and then, but what he's doing is he's just on the Ouroboros thing. So I would love to bounce this to my hand and replay it for this, because this is the only thing he has going for him. He's stalled board. And that's the whole reason this card exists in this right here. So, instead of, drawing what we need, we drew exactly what we didn't need. So, we just flooded. So, swing for 8 though. So we're not totally dead yet. we still feel that we're good. We'd be even better for a removal spell, but we can't buy one. So, and we flood out again. So he archive our traps. We then force negation or attempt to force negation this. We get it. That was just GG, obviously, if he gets that off. So he then gets a sleep curse fairy that takes our damage down because he can actually pay this. So we bounce it. So you got to remember this thing's a wizard too, so it can be bounced. He ghost quarters himself to get the trigger before the edict. So we finally got rid of it, but we're at 3 cards. So we have to kill him in 3 turns. We do 5 this, and I just don't think we can do it. So he preemptively take. Who knows if he had this in hand? I don't think he had this in hand. I think he preemptively bounced the Oboro for this play, which is just crazy. It's insane draws right now. Like if he gets a land and doesn't have this in hand and doesn't draw this, like we're happy. But we just auto lose here. And we actually have a shot because we take 2 off him and then we untap, we take 2 off him again, and we have 8 again, and we kill him in 2 turns, which is exactly where we need to be. So we barely lose. We barely lose this situation. And he goes ahead and he has another huge card that he gains a bunch of life, because that's the safe play. Because, he plays land, gains life. What can we do? We're just done. So that's why I'm saying, like, even though we were really, really bad, we were 1 draw from just winning the game. Just out there, just outright winning the game. So, if we draw 2 more removal spells, him getting rid of Snapcaster, I think that was last game. But him getting rid of Snapcaster does hurt a little bit. So, but for the most part, we're just not happy with our deck right now. We're like, what are you doing, deck? What are you doing? And we just don't know what we're doing here, and we are really, really thinking of how did he just get that many draws in a row, and how did we miss that many draws in a row to be able to get there. And it happens sometimes. Like I said, it's not a perfect 100%, but the last time I lost the mill, it was a while ago. It was months ago, like 6 months or more ago, before I could remember losing the mill. So some of these matchups are just so cut and dry, and so once you've learned the matchup, they become very 80-20, like I said, to where you don't drop very many games. And so, but sometimes you just hit the variants and they get you. So, and that's magic. So anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Have a good day, and definitely subscribe, help the channel. So see you next time.